everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are so happy to have you, and I'm so excited to be here. My name is Becky Bass, and I am a vocalist, musician, and actress, as well as teaching artist here in Rhode Island. And I'm just excited to get some music today. You know, it's been, what a year it's been, huh? I know everyone has had their challenges, ups and downs throughout this whole year, but music kind of brings us back together and reminds us how beautiful life is and how much love and light and joy that music can bring to people. So I'm excited here to play some Caribbean soul music for you. So I will be singing as well as playing this beautiful instrument, which is called the steel pan, or some of you may know it as the steel drum. And it's going to create some beautiful melodies, and I hope that you enjoy. And we'll talk definitely more about this instrument a little bit later. But let's get into some music. So Caribbean soul, I like for me to think of it as a combination and a mixture of flavors that contain R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, soca, but all with a Caribbean flair. So I hope that you enjoy. I see them coming after my soul, wanting to take control, want to give me rocks, want to give me bling, want to give me all the material things. I am talking about what the world has to offer. Girl, what you doing, don't you see what they have done to Bedouin and Marcus, Jesus and all of the prophets? But I am not afraid. No, I am not afraid. But I am not afraid. If them a come. When you fall behind and can't pay your bills on time, prostituting and standing in a damn government line. Oh no, they don't mind when you're wasting time coming up with some stupid line, influencing the youth them to take a life. They don't mind when you're locked up in jail, can't get no bail, sentenced for life. You can't see your youth them strive, and they don't mind. But I am not afraid. No, I am not afraid. But I am not afraid. If them a come, let them come. I'm protected by the Most High One. Yay! But I am not afraid. No, I am not afraid. But I am not afraid. If them a come, let them come. I'm protected by the Most High One. Yay! Yes. Woo. That was called I Am Not Afraid. And I hope that you enjoyed it. So we got another one for you. So like I said, we do some Caribbean soul music with some jazz. So this one is a very popular standard that I love and adore. So I hope that you enjoy it too. Okay. By one of my favorites, she did a beautiful rendition, Sarah Vaughan. The way you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea, the memory of all that. No, they can't take that away from me. The way your smile will just be, the way you sing off key, the way you haunt my dreams. No, they can't take that away from me. We may never meet again on that bumpy road to love. Still, I'll always have the memory of the way you hold your knife, the way we danced till 3. The way you changed my life. No, you can't take that away from me. No, you can't take that away from me. We may never meet again on that bumpy road to love. But we'll always have the memory of the way you hold your knife, the way we danced till 3, the way you changed my life. No, they can't take that away from me. No, they can't take that away from. No, Yes. Woo! Thank you so much. All right, we are continuing down the line. All right, we're gonna go back to some reggae music, another amazing artist that we all love and adore. I hope you enjoy this. Oh yes. Oh yes, we're jamming. I wanna jam it with you. We jamming, yes, we jamming. And I hope you like a jamming too. Ain't no rules and ain't no vow. We can do it anyhow. I and I will see you through. Cause every day we pay the price with a little sacrifice. We're jamming till the jam is through. Oh yes, we're jamming. We're jamming. To think that jamming was a thing of the past. We're jamming, yes, we're jamming. And I hope this jam is gonna last. No bullet can stop us now. We neither tonight. Your life is worth much more than gold. Oh yes, we're jamming, we're jamming. To think that jamming in the name of the Lord. We're jamming, yes, we're jamming, and we're jamming right straight from ya. Oh yeah, Holy Mount Zion, Holy Mount Zion, just sitteth in Mount Zion and rules our creation. Yeah, yeah. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. I wanna jam it with you. We jamming, yes, we jamming, and I hope you like a jamming too. Jams about my pride and truth I cannot hide to keep you satisfied. To know that now exist is the love I can't resist, so jam it now by my side. Oh yes, we're jamming, we're jamming, yeah, I wanna jam it with you. We're jamming, yes, we're jamming, and I hope you like the jamming too. We're jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, 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 we jamming, we jamming, and we jamming, and we jamming. Whoa, 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 yeah, yeah. Jamming, jamming, jamming. Yes, we jamming tonight. Woot woot. Awesome, y'all. All right, we're going to keep going on through. Another favorite of mine. We're going to do some Amy Winehouse. Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water. And I think of all the things, what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Well, since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Well, come on over, stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, Valerie. Did you have to go to jail? Put your house on up for sale? Did you get a good lawyer? Hope you didn't catch a tan. Hope you find the right man who'll fix it for you. Are you shopping anywhere? Change the color of your hair, and are you busy? Hope you didn't catch that fine. You was dodging all the time. Are you still dizzy? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Well, come on over, stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, oh, why don't you come on over, Valerie? Yeah, yeah. Valerie, don't you come on over? Yeah. Why don't you come on over? Valerie, why don't you come on over? Yes, why don't you come on over? Yeah, why don't you come on over? Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Awesome. How are we doing on time? We doing good still? One more. Ooh, that is a hard ask. But I can make that happen. Oh, that's hard. Can I combine two real quick? Okay. Too quick. All right, I'm gonna skip these other ones. Sorry, I had a whole thing planned, but it's okay. We're gonna make it work. So this is one of my favorite songs, and I have to do it, and I'll try to make it quick. And then the last one, we're gonna just do some soca partying till the end, and then we'll get to go. Yeah, rock out. And it's been such a pleasure here. I just want to take this time also to say thank you so much to the Parlour. We are doing this here live at the Parlour, streaming from the Parlour. Pew, 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 pew. The Parlour has been like a second home for me. I mean, I can go on and fill this whole stream with how much I love the Parlour. But I love Gregory. I love the Parlour. So please support your local music venues. It's so important right now. You know, we're all having a hard time, but music keeps us alive, and it's so important that you show your support and love to these amazing local music venues that keep this moving. And so you'll see some donation links on the bottom of the screen. So please donate, and please support your local musicians as well. There's so many talented musicians in this community here at Rhode Island, and it's a gem. People don't know. Watch out, New York. We coming for you. But yes, so showing all my love, and I want to say thank you so much to Motif for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to talk with you more and to get to know everyone, and so you can get to know me as well. So thank you. All right. So I know we have some Sade fans up there. We're going to do some Sade. Caribbean soul style. Start. No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. He's a smooth operator. He's a smooth operator. He's a smooth operator. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago, Western Mail, across the north and south to Key Largo, love for sale. Face to face, each classic case. We shadow box and double cross, yet to need the change. A license to love, insurance. need to ask. He's a smooth operator. He's a smooth operator. Smooth operator. He's a smooth operator. Ay, 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 telale, ay. Ay, 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 telale. Ah! Oh, let it walk a mile and a half, and she telale. Oh, let it walk a mile and a half, and she telale. Ay, 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 telale. Ay, 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 telale. Oh, let it walk a mile and a half, and she telale. Oh, let it walk a mile and a half, and she telale. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been an honor to be here with you, performing some Caribbean soul music. I look forward to talking with you more, so stick around for the rest.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Between the Notes here at the Parlor. I'm live with Becky Bass.
Yay!
We're gonna ask her a few questions, the real tough, hard-hitting questions that I know you all want to hear.
Oh yeah.
First off,
Yes.
hi, Becky.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing swell.
You were telling me that was that your first kind of performance in how long was that? How
Good
long has it
question.
been?
Yes, it's since I've kind of done it, that I feel like I want to say a month or maybe a month and a half. But it's been all virtual.
Right.
Right. So like if I have had a performance, it's like 20 minutes, real quick, and do a virtual thing. But to be with people.
Right. All three of us
in
the room. It was great.
That's better than one.
Well, I gotta say, actually, I think that might have been my first live performance, at least first time seeing live music in so long. So I'm very grateful to have had it been you, because you were just such a ray of positivity. I mean, musically, you are just incredible, and just your voice, sonic, everything about you is just glowing and perfect.
Oh.
So I guess we can end now,
right?
Because we've got all the stuff out of the way. But actually,
So funny.
why don't we start then first with how did you get into music?
Whew, great question. So I was born and raised in St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, nice.
So that's home. And at a young, ripe age of 2 years old, should I keep going? Okay, yes. So, police, lovely. Yes, I was taught by my father to play the steel pan, steel pan is the more authentic term for it.
Right.
I know people have also called it steel drums, but steel pan is the authentic term. So my father is also a musician, and he is still playing down in St. Croix at the young age of 80 years old.
Really? Wow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, what does he play? Does he also play steel pan?
He plays the steel pan, but there's actually a lot of different kinds of steel pans.
Oh, okay.
So this one that I play is called a tenor pan, and the lowest note is middle C, and it has a range of about 2 octaves and some change. And all notes, all keys, major, minor, can do literally anything
Right.
we want. And then my father plays the double tenor. So he actually plays 2.
Whoa.
Yes, and they're actually set up very differently. The larger or the thicker the skirt, the bigger the notes are, and the lower in tone
Right.
the instrument has. So this is considered the lead pan, so which is why it has all those higher notes, so I can try to get through. Yeah.
Right, kind of get around. Well, I noticed during your performance there
Yes.
were certain techniques it looked like you were doing in terms that would either dull the sound, or is there, when you're playing it, because obviously there's when you're making different melodies, when you're improvising, there's all sorts of choices that you have to make note-wise, but in terms of the timbre messing with the steel pan, what is it that you're kind of doing, just so I can kind of get some of that nerdiness out of me, because I got a million questions about it.
I love it, absolutely. So what's really cool about it, so really, I know I can't really, you can try it. So it's actually one of the youngest acoustic instruments made today. So I can play it without a microphone, and it can still be very clearly heard. And so if you hit it, there's like, if you can see that there's little kind
Right,
of
there's
divots,
little depressions in it, right.
exactly. So in between those, if you hit them, there will be no sound at all, 0 sound. But if you hit them right in the middle, that's where the tone comes. And depending on how hard or how soft you hit it, that can determine the timbre. So different techniques that I use, rolling, which you can hear, it's if I stay on one note, you can hear it go brrrr, or if just hitting, and if I hit it hard, you'll hear more of a sharpness, but then if I hit it soft, it's more of that like rounded, beautiful, like lullaby tone where there's no harshness to it, there's no sharpness. So yeah, it really is, it's just kind of how you play this instrument, and it's literally all in the wrist. So depending on how, you'd never want to hit it too hard, but the smaller the notes, the harder you have to hit it for a certain sound to come out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I can see how it's a nice soft sound, but if it's a little more flick. So yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. I mean, now when you said that it's one of the youngest acoustic instruments. What do you mean by that?
So it requires no microphone, technically. When I'm with a band, sure. Or in this case, since there's music playing, it's good to be supported. But meaning that it was created and formed in, I believe it was the 50s. And
Wow. Okay, so it's that young.
It's that young. It's that young. And it's created from 55-gallon oil drums. That's kind of how Star came to be. There's definitely a long history for it. It was created in Trinidad and Tobago, and it became a replacement for drums since drums were taken away from Africans that were brought over and enslaved.
Right.
And they were taken away, so they found another way to communicate using like scrap metals on the island, and they found the 55-gallon oil drum, and then from there it just started to morph into what you see today.
That is amazing. No, I mean, it's for such a young instrument, such an important history, such an interesting history. I mean, gosh, I wish I knew. I wish I knew that much about my saxophone. I feel like I read a book once and it was like, yeah, this guy Adolf, he made it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like no, it's really his name was Adolf Sax, and
Sax.
that is probably as much as I know about it. Which I feel bad because there's all sorts of people who know all this stuff about their instruments. Now, your father, when he was teaching you, is there like is it really like notation based, or was it kind of more of like an oral tradition sort of way that he taught you? Like, here we're gonna make music. Like, how was your learning process when you first started learning music?
Come on, Ben, some good questions here. So it was all taught orally.
Awesome.
My father does not read music. And so everything I learned was by ear. And I think I was, third grade. They enrolled me in piano. And so and then I took classical piano for 10 years. And that's where I learned how to read music. So even though how I was kind of brought into music was through an oral tradition, it morphed into classical reading.
Right.
But now what's been amazing about learning both is having that flexibility to be like, I can just jump on stage with any band in the world and be able to just like fill in because of my start being oral tradition. But then if I play with an orchestra, they're like, here, read the music and go.
Right.
It's like a whole nother thing. So that was the beginning.
Okay, it sounds very similar to like bluegrass tradition where everybody kind of learns, and obviously later on they go, but is there a big element, is there a large improvisatory element to that kind of music that he was teaching you and everything? Because it seems like you're very well versed at just playing, being in the music, and like you said, you want to be able to sit in because your ears are just so well tuned to what's going on. So is there a big improv sort of segment to the music that you were learning, or is it, here are the tunes, you play them this way? Because that's the problem with very like Eurocentric classical music, kind of Western system where we learn the notes.
That's right.
And I fall into that trap because being a composer, I love notated music.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so it's.
But
So was it really focused on just feeling that music and being able to add to the tradition and being able to add to the song? It wasn't so regimented.
Yes. It's such an interesting question because yes, and these arrangements of tunes were still yet created and taught. So I grew up in St. Croix, and the steel pan was in our curriculum, our school curriculum.
Oh.
Yes. Wow. And I just had the fortunate pleasure to have my father teaching the class.
Straight A's.
Oh, yeah.
Or did he make it? He probably made you earn it. I feel like fathers teaching, mothers especially. Mothers, I feel like my mom would have been like just so, because she's a teacher, I feel like she would have, if I was in her class, it would be like, there's no bones about it. You're working.
You're working. Yep. Well, my father was the same.
Yeah.
And he even made me teach some of the classes too. He's like, I have to go to the dentist. Just teach the class. Yes, so that happened. But, that was part of our curriculum. And I started in, I think it was also third grade, and went all the way up to 12th grade with this in our curriculum. And there were always arrangements taught. There wasn't really like, so even though these arrangements were all taught by ear, like my father, he put these together knowing the instruments. So there's a bass drum, there's a double tenor, there's guitar, pans, there are the tenor, the lead. So there's different kinds of double seconds, and you have to kind of create music using, it's like an orchestra of steel pans.
Right.
So it was arranged and specific. Like these are the parts that you play, and we're gonna put them all together. But at the same time, it was orally, so it's like they still created the arrangement themselves, right? It was still that improv thing, but they
Right.
created a specific arrangement, and they didn't write it down. They just taught it orally.
Yeah, there's a tradition. There's a can't think of the word, but there's an agreed upon set of parameters to it
Exactly.
that we're all following.
Exactly.
So besides the steel pan, you said that you studied classical music, and then somehow we get you to Providence. Now, how did you? That's a long logical leap, but I figured at some point I have to ask questions that maybe they are interested in, not just all the questions that I'm
That you
interested in
wanna know?
hearing
I
about.
love it.
It's like, just hold on, guys. I'm going to learn everything there is to know about the steel pan, and after this, I'm going to have one. No,
Yeah, right.
It's so how did you get to Providence?
Yes.
You know.
Yes. So I came here to go to Brown University.
Oh, really? What were you
That's-
studying?
So I went in for chemistry, because fortunately and unfortunately, down in the Caribbean, it's very much like, music and the arts, that's cute. That's a hobby. But you can't do that as a career.
Right.
So you must do something else, like be a teacher, be a professor, be a doctor. So I came here thinking I was going to concentrate in chemistry, and I came out with a performance degree
Wow.
from Brown University.
Music specific, or was it like in the arts in general?
It was the arts in general. It's a theater arts and performance studies degree. So we learned about, it was definitely catered more toward like acting as opposed to music. But we learned a lot about, the stage and different things, stage presence. So it could be tied into music, but the focus wasn't music. It was acting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is something I want to touch on. Hopefully we'll have enough time, because
Yeah.
I know you've been doing a lot of that lately.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes.
But specifically music, because we're here,
Yeah.
between the notes to try to learn about that.
Yeah.
So how did you sort of make headway into the Providence music scene, especially on steel pan, which is an instrument that, it's great because it's so unique in a way. I remember seeing you at the Roots Jam when they used to do, was it every Wednesday? Oh my God, it was so interesting. It's just a great eclectic group of people all playing all these different things, and then all of a sudden you arrive, and it's like, oh my God, it's a steel pan, and then all of a sudden you're just, fire all over it, and then singing. So how did you first kind of insert yourself into the scene a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, it actually still has to do with Brown University. So my senior year, I was doing a production with Rights and Reason Theater, which is a theater attached to Brown University. And they not only have students, but they also invite community members. And so the music directors came in from outside. One was a Brown alum, and the other wasn't, but she's very involved in the community. And for this show, they were like, who sings, who plays an instrument? And I'm like, I do.
Yeah. Just kind of like teeing you up there.
Yes. And side note, since I felt forced to play the steel pan, this is me, I hated the steel pan for so long. I didn't even touch it in college. I was like, no, I'm singing, or I'm doing something else, but I'm not doing that. And so when that show came, I was like, even though I was like, yeah, I sing, and I guess I play the steel pan, I guess. And they're like, oh, cool, all right, so bring it and do this. And so the music director, who was an alum of Brown University, he was like, what are you doing this summer? And I'm like, I have a show lined up, but that's it. And then I'm going to leave Providence and never come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he was like, okay, great. So I have this reggae band, and our steel pan player just moved to New York. and we'd love to have you play with us and sit in with us for a few gigs. And I was like, sure. And honestly, that was the start of everything for me here.
Wow.
Yeah, like that that's not a coincidence. There's no way that's a coincidence. You're a steel pan player in Rhode Island for a reggae band.
Right.
Moved to New York at the time I'm graduating, and I played, like, it blew my mind. So I was like, okay, this has to be on purpose.
You got to just follow whatever, the universe is trying to tell you something.
Amen.
Now, you said that I can understand why you would have an interesting, kind of like a conflicting relationship with the steel pan.
Yeah.
Is there, honestly, how do you feel about it now? Has it changed, or is it still that I feel like I was forced to do it? Not because,
True.
fathers, God love them, but they want to teach and they want to show.
That's right.
But so is there still that kind of conflicting relationship between you and the instrument, or have you sort of accepted that because of what it's brought?
Now I am so thankful. Words can't even describe how much I like the importance of this instrument in my life. And even though I hated it in my youth, I was like, I even taking piano, I was like, all right, I guess, all right. But those moments leading up to now has made me the musician I am, and I just I can't even begin to describe how much it's a different relationship now. Like, I feel like that I need to have it with me when I'm performing. I will say that my love still lies in singing. It's still like, if I had to choose, I would still say singing is what I'd love and be okay with just doing that. But the steel pan brings that uniqueness, and it's made me find my voice.
Right.
In a way, still like that. It's jazz, but I have these Caribbean roots in there that is so important and part of my sound. Right. Vocally, not just playing my instrument. So it's definitely changed the relationship, and I really couldn't be more grateful, even though I fought.
Yeah, I totally
know?
understand that.
Yeah.
Now, we only have a couple more minutes.
Okay.
So I just want to ask you, sort of, where's the next part now that you've reconciled, you and the steel pan have made
that.
up.
Yes.
But where is sort of the next part of the musical journey? Because as we were discussing before, we even started talking on camera, because of the way the pandemic has been and gigs shutting down, you've moved on to acting.
Yes.
A little bit more. You've been working more in that sphere.
Yeah.
So is there going to be more time to evolve in music? Is there going to be less time? What's the next step in that journey? And feel free to include part of acting in that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question, and I feel like I think about that every day.
Yeah.
But so it's funny because even though I got my degree in acting, right, in the theater world, then music took over, and then so acting took a back seat. And only during the slow season of music would I do, yeah, sure, I'll do a musical here and there. Like, I've done some shows in Boston and here, and even in New York for a hot second. But then when the pandemic hit, ever since music shut down, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And I'm the kind of person that I need things. I can't just relax, which that's a whole nother interview to talk about.
Yeah. But, why this compulsion to not stop?
To not stop.
Yeah.
But yes, so he's like, okay, well, how can I take this time to use it efficiently? And so I started kind of getting back into acting, and not just focus on theater, since that also closed, but getting more into the film commercial world. And literally right before the pandemic, I had booked 2 things professionally in film and in acting. And one of them was a major motion picture starring Diane Keaton, Jeremy Irons, and I had a speaking role. Gregor and I were just talking about this. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, like right before the pandemic hit, and we were able to film it, and it was, we finished it before the pandemic hit, but I was like, oh, I kind of like this. This is cool. I really like this, you know. But I'm still doing music, so it's cool. And so when the pandemic hit, all of a sudden I was like, okay, let me kind of go back into that. And from there, things have just blossomed. I got an agent during the pandemic.
Oh.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
agent for acting and modeling, and it's just taken off from there. Commercials, industrials. I've traveled the country doing acting throughout the pandemic.
Wow.
It's like, huh? And even right before the pandemic hit, literally like 2 or 3 months before, for the first time in my life, I was like, is music what I'm supposed to do? And I've never had that feeling in my life.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, I don't know if I'm meant to sing anymore. And I had this like, and it's the dark depression.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, for
what am I
someone so
gonna
bubbly,
do?
it's like to
I
really
know,
feel
right?
that. Like, no, man. That's,
Yeah.
oof.
And so, and you know, I say all this because talking about next steps, like I truly believe that everything happens for a reason.
Right.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything lines up the way it's supposed to. And I truly saw that happen throughout the pandemic, and not only for acting, but also musically. I ended up taking as soon as the pandemic hit and things shut down, something popped up, I think it was on Facebook, and this amazing woman had this video, and she's like, do you feel like you can't do XYZ? Like, do you feel like you're struggling in singing? And do you da-da-da-da? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I do. and I took her class, and from there too, like I feel like I've changed my whole perspective of it's a mindset thing,
Right.
you know, rather than an actual skill or talent. It was just so. I say all that because the next steps, I am just hoping to kind of just keep diving into who I am. Like, who am I? Who I am and who am I? And asking those questions and really going authentically within myself to find those things that really bring me joy and things that I can then bring others joy.
Yeah.
You know, and whether that's through music or through acting, like I know that that's what I want to do for the rest of my life, is do that for others.
Well, because that's never really necessarily a concrete thing that you have to be this way or that. You don't have to play just steel pan. You
That's
don't
right.
have to just sing. You don't have to just act. You don't have to do chemistry.
That's
It is
that's
just
right.
so amazing that all these things. So I got to say for myself, I am really looking forward to the next evolution.
Thank you.
Whatever that may be, whether acting
Yes.
or maybe chemistry again, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Becky, thank you so much for sitting down with us, and for everybody at home. I know I enjoyed it. I know they enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
So thank you all for coming and watching Becky. Becky Bass, everybody. Where can they find you online?
Oh, yes. Okay, good question. So, yes, I'm on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. You can find Becky Bass Music. And I also have a website, beckybass.com. Still trying to work updates on that. You know, it's tough being an artist, as you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
wearing all the hats all the time by ourselves, trying to figure it out. So, you know, so you can find me there, though, and I'll try my best to keep posting when I'll be performing or when different updates come about acting as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to Between the Notes here at the Parlour. Want to, again, thank the Parlour, want to thank Motif, and especially, most of all, want to thank Becky Bass.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you so much.